the ZX10 Masters Cup action is proudly brought to you by SunBet, Red Square, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice for the ZX10 Masters Cup, and Kawasaki motorcycles. After a spectacular opening 2 rounds of the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup, we head to the Free State and to Phakisa Freeway, the purpose-built motorcycle circuit where motorcycle racing is always at the forefront. And it's great to be part of the Regional Extreme Festival here for this round. And Red Square and SunBet are in the house in a big way, and they are looking forward to entertaining us with 23 motorcycles that have qualified today. All on identical Bridgestone rubber, and there's a chance here for Graham Van Berdaal to take the lead of the championship again with Ronald Slamet, the championship leader, not here this weekend. There are lots of riders that are involved, and Mark and Tracy are here as always to give us a little bit of refreshment and the reload that's required from Red Square. But they're going to be looking forward to that in the halfway in between the 2 heats. Apana Ganapathy has had a fantastic start to the season, so has Brian Bontekoning, getting a little bit of a warm up there from Ian Harwood. That's the way to start a race day, just to make sure that we're all safe. We thank the big guy upstairs, and we now look forward to getting out on track. Rob Craig's made it all the way from Cape Town. He's looking forward to it, and so is Steve Golgocci, who was our rider of the day last time out. What will Phakisa Temba and Lavabatsim Nsana do about this weekend on a very hard-wearing circuit when it comes to tyre wear on this track? Graham Van Berdaal is certainly looking forward to going to the front end of this championship, and he's definitely going to be looking forward to a big battle with Jason Lamb, as he's seen all season long. One of his press releases that went out at the previous round was saying it was one of the best races he's ever been involved in. And I'm sure he's looking for more of the same here this weekend. Bridgestone rubber now being taken out of those tyre warmers and getting ready to go now for the first heat of racing here today at Phakisa Freeway. Van Berdaal will lead them out. They do the short circuit just to come around to line up on the grid to get ready to go for that first race. And you can see everybody's fired up and itching to get onto the circuit and get the battle done. They roll out and come around. It's great to see the Phakisa circuit. Looking forward to another superb motorcycle race here as we've seen in the past. And on the grid, it was Graham Van Berdaal, Jason Lamb and Wayne Shelley, incredible. The man who is a Phakisa specialist on that front row. DeFoss, McMahon and Ganapathy with the second row. Then Endicott, Brian Bontekoning and Clint Munton, with Reggie Seal, Teddy Brook and Hank Kruger making up the fourth row. We managed to catch up with the pole man Graham Van Berdaal just before he headed out on circuit.
Yeah, it was a good one. When going into the second session yesterday with one left, we were basically 1.5 seconds, I think, off Jason's times. We tried something different on the bike and we got lucky it seemed to work. We actually made a couple of changes and we managed to find 2 seconds a lap. It is a long circuit, so it is easy to find time around here because there's a lot of fast turns and quite a few straights. And we managed to just sneak into pole by 0.1 of a second.
We caught up with Jason Lamb, who was at 0.1 second behind. Let's see what his thoughts are on this qualifying.
Yeah, not too bad, Unfortunately, Graham pipped me again by 0.1 of a second. But, one thing I like with Graham, we always have a good race, and I'm looking forward to having a good dice with him.
With Wayne Shelley on third, catch us after the break for all Race 1 action. Welcome back to Phakisa Freeway and Race 1 now for SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup. We're on the grid. The lights are about to go on and off, and when they go off, we go racing. And this is what it's all about. Particularly the circuit that is purpose-built for incredible motorcycle racing, and we've seen some great ones in the past. Are we going to see more of the same here today with this heat of the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup? Green flags at the back, lights about to go off, and here we go down towards turn 1. Is it going to be the man up front? Oh, problems at the back end though. Looks like a little bit of issues there for Dieter Hazeman. Didn't get off the line like he wanted. Jason Lamb certainly did. He goes inside, but just can't squeeze out Graham van Breda as they go into turn 1. We're on board here with Dave Endicott in the mid-pack, starting to look for a way through early on. It's not quite the start that the man from Cape Town wanted, but he's certainly now going to look for a chance to get through there on Bontekoning, who's just ahead of him. Not the start that Brian Bontekoning wanted either. He went back slightly there, so not quite where he wants to be. He'd like to be a little bit further up the field right now as they come through there for the first time down into turn 2. Good start there coming out of Renatus van Niekerk as well. He's in that mid-pack just behind the battle for Rob. Oh, in fact, Rob Craig's just behind him. Rob Craig just behind him looking for a way into the boot early on. Phakisa Temba just ahead of both of them. Jason Lamia in second place, right on the tailpiece and looking for a way to close down now on Graham van Breda. BBD has sorted this pack out right from the word go and means business, as you can see. And as they come through there, they start to sort things out in that mid-pack as well. Wayne Shelley also not the start he wanted, dropping down way out of the top 3. How's the start coming out of Peter de Vos though? De Vos up in the third place. What a start there from arguably our oldest man on the grid today. So that's not a bad way to start your day there, Peter. This is Lamb on the inside through the fastest right-hand sweep at the corner, and he goes through. Wow! On cold Bridgestone rubber, he makes it stick. That's incredible. So nice start there from Jason Lamb and showing Van Breda the way through in one of the fastest corners in South Africa. You can see a little bit of manoeuvring there as Renatus van Niekerk tries to come back at Phakisa Temba. Left down for about 13th and 14th place at the moment. Henk Kruger just ahead of them. So Kruger and I just trying to pull away ever so slightly. Further back from that, looks like Stewie Christie, Gerard Frey, and Ian Harwood in a bit of a fight of their own too. As they come through now, it is Graham van Breda being caught now by De Vos. De Vos absolutely hauling around here. Also very much a Phakisa specialist, loves the circuit, and you can certainly see why. Henk Kruger now with Renatus van Niekerk closing him down. As they come up to the top end, Phakisa Temba and Rob Craig going to be fighting out for about 13th and 14th places. They come into turn 1. We're seeing the IM63 man there fly through turn number 1 and looking to just bridge that gap ever so slightly if he can. Just losing out ever so slightly there. Teddy Brooks starting to come into the picture as well, just in the background. Keep an eye on him. And speaking of in the background, here comes Shelley. Shop 74, Shelley on the back end now of Brian Bontekoning. And they're leaving Henk Kruger, and not Henk Kruger, bigger, Hein McMahon. Hein McMahon squeezing through there, and McMahon is definitely on a flyer. He's had a fantastic season as Hein McMahon. He's got a Panaganapathi looking to try and close him down, and then it's Endicott behind that. So the Cape Town-based riders have had all their own way, literally the first couple of rounds. They seem to be battling a little bit here. And you can see Endicott not loving life. Munton is back. That's good to see too. Clint Munton there having a super run on the Sunscan Kawasaki. Just ahead there of Panaganapathi. Henk Kruger starting to close things down there on the Juggernaut. And Dave Varinga, his days are numbered because Kruger is coming along in a big way. So is Panaganapathi. Ganapathy having a fantastic season. Really a man to watch out for in this mid-pack. He's slowly but surely getting to grips with the motorcycle and slowly but surely starting to close in on the front end pack here as well. As Lamb leads them out. He continues to lead things out. Peter de Vos continues to hound the back end of that Stefanuti Stocks Kawasaki, but he can't find a way through just yet. The John Gonjosi man is all over the back of Graham van Breda. They come out of Geelkop, and that's the penultimate corner. This is the last corner they're coming through. Left hand, and it's a nice sweeping bend. Lots of room on the outside. Bontekoning being caught with that additional room by the Shop 74 Kawasaki of Shelley, and he's bringing McMahon along for the ride. Those two boys have had a fantastic season, not only here in ZX10s, but in the Thunderbikes as well, and they're using it to great advantage as they come through there. This is super stuff as they come into another lap completed. Now let's have a look further back in that pack. You can see guys just starting to get into their own little fights there. De Vos hasn't quite bridged that gap just yet to the back end of Van Breda. Van Breda is slowly but surely closing on Lamb. So Jason Lamb is being reeled in slightly there by Graham van Breda on that last pass, looking at the lap times. Same thing can be said here. Panaganapathi looking on Munton. There's a big look on the inside, just can't get through there. So the ART bike starting to close on that Sunscan Kawasaki, and they're both catching the back end of Dave Endicott. Henk Kruger fighting hard there with Varinga. Behind that, it's Phakisa Temba, Renatus van Niekerk, and Teddy Brook. Teddy Brook now into the picture with Rob Craig. Multiple SA champion and Western Province champion. They're being hounded now by a couple of the usual contenders here in the ZX10 Masters Cup. And Craig battling a little bit this weekend. He's actually got Steve Golgocci just behind him too. Oh, here we go. It's on at the front end. Van Breda has closed that gap down, and Van Breda now looking for a way past. Can he find a way through here on Jason Lamb, or is Jason Lamb going to keep him honest and try and keep him out until that checkered flag is dropped? And waiting to pick up the pieces is to Peter de Vos. Peter de Vos will be gifted a victory if these two have a little bit of a tangle, and they have in the past, so it could happen as they go through the right-hand sweep down towards Geelkop. You can see just a little bit of extra squeeze there coming out of that Motormart machine. And I'll tell you something, this is a fantastic run here from Jason Lamb. Didn't quite expect him to have this kind of pace, but I mean, you saw how close it was for qualifying. 0.01 between these two for qualifying, and there's 0.0 nothing between them now as they're getting into the thick of it here for this first race of the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup. Vanberdar closes in, but he just can't find a way through. Look at the corner speed he carries, almost 600cc-esque style corner speed there from Vanberdar. He's got that bike turning well here at Phakisa. But the extra squirt coming out of the East London-based bike is definitely working well for him. Vanberdar is leading things out in terms of the challenge on the back end of Jason Lamb, but there's a couple of challenges behind there, and one of them is coming from Shelley on Bontekonen. Looks like de Vos is going to have to wait and see. Third place is where he's going to have to settle for by the looks of things. Shelley is definitely on a fly. Look at that, right on the tailpiece now, and looking to try and squeeze out Brian Bontekonen into the toe of the boot. And watching in the background, another man who'll look up to pick up the pieces. Now behind McMahon. Slucky is right there. What a good run here from him. Top 6 finish. It'll be a top 3 finish for him as well in Class A. That is exactly what he's expecting to do here, and he's doing such a superb job of it. They've left the third pack all on their own sim. And Apana Ganapathy, Entercott and Munton continue to fight it out for that third three-way fight here on the circuit. It's 3x3 they're playing at the moment. And as they get onto that back straightaway again, here comes Vanberdar. Vanberdar going to look on the inside. Can he get through on the same kind of maneuver? No, he's not going to be able to get on that inside line through the right-hand sweep. Had a big look, but couldn't make it stick. Bontekonen carries great corner speed as well. This is the fourth battle, actually. Teddy Brooks got to the front end of it now. Henk Kruger is behind Teddy Brook. So the Brook Refrigeration Services machine is now ahead of Henk Kruger, ahead of Phakisa Temba, and looks like he's ahead there of Dave Varinga as well. Jason Lamb, I was about to say, watch out for Vanberdar, he's inside, and there he comes. Vanberdar diving through into turn 1. When the back end stepped out there, they are starting to feel the effects of this hard tyre wearing circuit. This is an exceptionally hard circuit on tyres. And Phakisa Freeway is now starting to feel the effects of almost 10 laps of racing here. Jason Lamb coming back at him though. As I look into turn 2, through the little kink there, didn't quite get there, but he's not going to give this one up without a fight. Lamb now trying to come back at Vanberdar, who leads things down towards the toe of the boot. Little look over the shoulder from Shelley, looking how far back Han McMahon is. This is Entercott. And diving through on Entercott. Great move there from Apana. This is a super run, man. This is what it's all about. You can see coming back at him. Is he going to be able to get on the inside? No. Apana Ganapathy hangs on for now. So Ganapathy just getting through there on Dave Entercott and slotting him down into 8th place overall. Apana up into 7th on the 7-7. Mike 4 in 6th place. Han McMahon, the K9 machine, going absolutely brilliant at this stage, but just not able to bridge that gap. Same thing can be said there from Peter de Vos's point of view. He's watching the two riders ahead of him fight it out and waiting to pick up the pieces. Same thing, as I said, could be said about Han. McMahon comes through there. Fast right-hand sweep and back to Henk Kruger, who this time sneaks up the inside of Teddy Brook. Brook might run a little bit wide there. Is that going to open up an opportunity? Yes, it is. Thank you very much, says Dave Varinga. He dives on the inside and just moves himself up slightly higher up than what he was earlier on and drops Teddy Brook down into the clutches of Phakisa Temba. Temba's got Craig and Renatus Vanica all over the back of him. They're looking for a way through too. Speaking of a way through, this could be it. No, not yet. A big move there, but Jason Lamb had to slot in behind once again onto the back end and just follow Graham Vanberdar around. Is he waiting to pounce? Maybe he's waiting for a little bit later on in the race. There he goes into the toe of the boot. Another big look, but not there yet. Just putting the pressure, continuing to keep the pressure on Graham Vanberdar at almost every single braking point. Roll out into what is turn 4, coming through past the Coca-Cola bottle on the left-hand side and now up through the two little kinks that head them towards the very famous Unchini 1 and Unchini 2 corners here at Phakisa Freeway. Motorcycles carry great corner speed into these two corners. If you get it all right, you can make up a lot of ground. That's exactly what Jason Lamb is doing here on Vanberdar. Is this enough to probably get the toe and do a similar maneuver to what he did earlier on in the race? He's got the toe. He's right there. He's looking for a way past. Can he get around the outside? This time he goes around the outside, in fact. That's brilliant. And looking for the checkered flag here. It looks like Jason Lamb has timed it to perfection. I thought he might be waiting a little bit later on in the race. Lamb now heading into Geelkop. He'll go defensive and keep that inside line so that Vanberdar can't come at him. And that's exactly what he does. Flicks the bike over onto the left-hand side into the final corner, and Jason Lamb's got it. Jason Lamb will take the first victory here from Graham Vanberdar. Timed to perfection to get through there and get around the outside of that very fast right sweep down the back straightaway. So it's Jason Lamb from Graham Vanberdar. That'll finish up ahead of Peter de Vos, who's all on his own sim now. dropping by the wayside there ever so slightly on that last pass. But here comes the rest of the pack. Bontekoning and Shelley side by side, and Bontekoning just squeezes him out. And in fact, up the inside, Han McMahon was nearly there as well. What a great finish here to the first heat of the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup. That's the way we like to do things here at Phakisa, and that's the kind of race action that can come. Lamb taking it from Van Breda, Peter de Vos and Bontekoning, and then Wayne Shelley beat out Han McMahon only just. Apanaganapathy hung on to beat out Dave Enticott, Clint Munton, and Dave Veringer in 10th. Henk Kruger beat out Savisa Temba for 11 and 12. Then it was Craig and Renatus Finikak, Teddy Brooks, Steve Ogotchi, Lubabala and Sana Stewie, Christy the Dog Doctor, Gerrit Frey, and Ian Harwood making up the top 20. Oh, and how's this? Coming into the pit lane, remember, a lot of guys don't realize that there's an exit road, and it looks like Steve Golgocci and Renatus Finikak have come together there. But let's catch up with Jason Lamb, your race winner.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. I knew it would be a difficult race. I led a few laps, he led a few laps. He was fast in some places, me in some places, but really enjoyable. Really a nice guy to ride with. He rides clean, he's hard but fair. And yeah, we finally did it this year. It's about time.
Looking forward to another one after this, but let's catch up now with a man down in 5th place, and welcome return to Wayne Shelley to ZX10 Masters Cup.
I had a good start, got stuck behind Bontekoning. Just couldn't get past him, and I was stuck there the whole race. There's nothing I could do. I tried all over, went off a couple of times, came back, caught him, just couldn't pass him. Tough bugger, but it is what it is.
Time for a quick reload and refreshment break. Join us after break for race 2. Welcome back to the Goldfields and the Phakisa Freeway. It's another round of the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup that are rolling around now. And after such an epic first one, what are they going to do to entertain us for the second one? I think they're going to provide us more of the same. Dave Enticott certainly is going to be looking to go a little bit higher up than what he finished up and try and get himself back into contention for at least a top 3 in this championship. He has battled on the circuits that are not Cape Town based. Peter de Vos had a phenomenal one in the first one, and he'll be looking for more of the same. And I wonder if we're going to see any changes there between Brian Bontekoning, that old bugger, and the man on Shop 74, Wayne Shelley. So we got the 5-second board, a green flag at the back. The lights are on. They're off, and we're racing down towards turn 1. Let's see who's going to get the whole shot. This time, Lamb is definitely looking for that whole shot early on, but Van Breda is having none of it. He goes around the outside on that Stefanudi Stocks Kawasaki, and look at that from Shelley, up to 3rd ahead of the Vos. So first place, it's all about Graham Van Breda. 3rd place was Wayne Shelley with another phenomenal start, and he gets up ahead, this time away from Bontekoning. And let's see if he can stay up there at this stage. He's got the Jongon Josie Kawasaki right on his tail as they head down towards turn 2. How's those 2 red bikes? Another phenomenal start coming out of Clint Munton. Nothing away from that. The Sunscan Kawasaki is right there with Han McMahon. And there you see Ian Harwood diving through and getting through on Steve Golgocci, who's got the Dog Doctor right behind him. Lubabala, and it looks like Reggie Ciale at the back there having a fantastic run between the two of them. A little bit of a fight on at the back end there as they come out of turn 3, heading towards 4. And you can see a little bit of manoeuvring there from Enticott. Apanaganapathy already through on Henk Kruger. Pressure coming from Rod Craig onto the back end, by the looks of it, of Dave Veringer. And right on his tail, it's Savisa Temba. So they're all lining up there. Much better start this time out as well from Dieter Hazeman. He finished right at the back of the pack there in that first heat. He's now sitting just behind Lubs and Stewie Christie, the Dog Doctor. As they come onto that back straightaway for the first time. Yo, hello. Graham Van Breda is checking out. He's disappearing at the front end. He has a move on the inside for 3rd. On board. And this is Enticott's point of view. Just up ahead there you can see, yes, by the looks of things, Peter de Vos has got through and Wayne Shelley has dropped down to 4th. Look at Bontekoning coming up onto the back end there of Clint Munton. Starting to close that gap down on the 2 red bikes ahead of him. He's got that red mist down there on the Jag Power Products Kawasaki to try and close down here on Slucky and on Clint Munton as they complete the first lap in anger. They come through there just behind them. Apanaganapathy, Henk Kruger, they're all lining up. Look out for Rob Craig as well. Rob Craig actually coming under a bit of pressure there from Savisa Temba. Kruger putting the pressure onto Veringer. 2 of them having a fantastic dice there. That's just inside the top 10. So looking for single digits are these 4 riders. And they'll be looking hard all race long. Looks like there's a little bit of maneuver there from Lubabalo as well. And Sana's moved up slightly. As they come through, he has a move from Bontekoning into turn 2. Looks like he might have got through. I think he may have made that one stick. And there's Henk Kruger defending off and attacking at the same time. Not an easy thing to be in. When in this little mid-pack battle, as we saw in the first heat, you've got so many bikes around you, and they are fighting so hard. Sometimes you're not quite sure if you've got to go on the attack or go on the defensive. You've got to have your wits about you all the time. Coming through Coke Bottle into turn 4. Here they come. There's a maneuver there from Enticott, slowly but surely reeling in the back end. Same thing can be said here from Savisa Temba, catching the back end of Rob Craig. Craig has got Kruger in his sights. Kruger's got Veringer in his sights. Behind that, they line up with Lubabala and Dieter Hazeman. That's how it's going to come onto this back straight away. And that's once again Lubawala and Sana onto that back straight away through Unchini 2. As the leaders are already up towards Geelkop. This is fantastic race action as we've seen. And at every single round this year, we've actually had phenomenal race action all through the pack. And what you're seeing is little bunches of riders are starting to get into each other's midst, and they are starting to put the pressure on. And with that, they're actually getting better and better on the circuits at every single occasion we get on track for race action from the ZX10 R Masters. Across the line again, Jason Lamb. This is the time out Vincent Park, and looking for a chance now to close down on that Stefanuti stock Kawasaki. These two cars at the front end have been the class of the field all weekend long, split by only 0.1 and split by only a couple of hundredths of a second on the end of race number 1. Now, what is Jason Lamb going to do about Van Breda? They come down towards turn 2. Van Breda keeping him honest for now. And that number 1 plate is being attacked big time. 74 closing in here on DeFoss. DeFoss has got some pressure coming from that shop 74 Kawasaki of Wayne Shelley. And Peter DeFoss is just soaking that pressure up. Oh, a big look over the shoulder. And Hein McMahon knows, here comes trouble. It's Bontekoning. Bonte's pulled a bit of a gap now over that second pack. And as they go down into the toe of the boot, Munton leads the second pack out. So he's going to have to keep his eyes and ears on those rearview mirrors, because there is some serious pressure coming on the back end of Clint Munton from Apanaganapathy, and not too far behind that, Kruger. And they come through there. You can see there they come. Have a look at how they've all changed up there. Kruger now starting to fall into the clutches there of Rob Craig, who's joining the party. Shelley looking for a way through, still hasn't found it just yet. And that John Gonjosi Kawasaki stays in third. Can he find a way to just get ahead and return the favour as they're onto that back straight away? Hein McMahon watching his tailpiece and having a look over the shoulder. We saw that already because he knows Bontekoning is there. Can he keep Brian Bontekoning out? That's not an easy thing to do. Just ask Wayne Shelley, he'll tell you. Dave Enticott. And he's a little bit higher up than what he was, but he's not quite there. He's got a bit of work to do to try and close in on it. And of course, remember, he's a man who was in contention last year for an overall championship and for his class championship. So maybe this is one of the circuits that he just wants to do the best he can. Maybe he doesn't like the Phakisa freeway that much, but Enticott certainly not giving up without a fight. And you can see McMahon just up the road from him. Further back in the pack, the Dog Doctor with some new livery on the side there for the Eastern Veterinary Clinic. He's taking on the Koi Doctor. So it's the Dog Doctor versus the Fish Man as they go through there. Detail East Kawasaki of Steve Galgocci and the Dog Doctor fighting hard. Speaking of hard fighting, there's probably not one better than those two right now for third. Shelley is all over DeFoss and looking for a way past. Can he make it stick though? No, he can't. Not into the toe of the boot just yet. Jason Lamb is applying the pressure, but he's doing slightly different lines to what Graham Van Breda is using around the circuit. Same thing can be said here from Shelley. Shelley trying different options as he goes on the inside of turn 4. Can he get through? Watch the drive. As he comes out, he'll try and get the drive through the little kink and into Unchini 1. That'll give him good pace down that back straightaway, and he'll probably look to try and use the slipstream on the back straight to catch that John Gonjosi Kawasaki. There it is. Carries good corner speed into Unchini 1. Maintains it through Unchini 2. And there it is, click up the gearbox and into the slipstream. So he's ideally placed, but DeFoss knew he was going to try something and just moved him out of the slipstream so he couldn't attack. Peter DeFoss using years of experience, and Shelley, of course, has got years of experience too. Two very, very experienced riders. Jason Lamb using his experience into Geelkop, and he snuck through into the lead. Big dive into the penultimate corner and gets ahead of Graham Van Breda. Now, is this good timing, or is it maybe a little bit early? We'll have to wait and see. They got one to go by the looks of it. If they come across the line, it might be just exactly where Jason Lamb wants to be. Here comes the third place battle. And Wayne Shelley now looking for a chance to squeeze through. Oh! Return of the favour from Van Breda. He gets into turn 1 and comes straight back at Jason Lamb. So it's on for this final lap. Put your money where your mouths are, guys. This is where it's going to count. And Wayne Shelley's doing the same thing. And Bontekoning's coming. Oh, no. Shelley will be looking over his shoulder going, oh, no, he's coming back again for more. And they're going to be three-way fight for third. It's a two-way fight for the lead, and Van Breda wants it. He cannot afford to give Jason Lamb another victory. If he takes this victory, what you're going to see is he'll be moving up ahead of Ronald Slammett, who didn't make it to this round. So the championship will now be taken away from Ronald Slammett and given to this man who leads things out at the moment. But he has to try and take the victory if he wants that. Background, look at Shelley. Shelley is all over the back end of Peter DeFoss. Further back, and Sana loses all on his own sim. But the Dog Doctor and Steve Galgocci are starting to close him down here on this final lap as well. He has a move from Peter DeFoss back at Wayne Shelley, and Shelley has to just give him a little bit of room to play. He comes back at him on the inside of Unchini 1. That's fantastic. So Shelley comes and gets straight back into it there. Here comes Bontekonen. But more importantly, around the outside, here comes Jason Lamb. Jason Lamb around the outside again on the very fast right-hander. That's the third last corner, and he's got through on Graham Van Bredok. And Van Bredok can come back at him at Heelkop if he carries good speed here. Let's see if he's going to try something different. They come out of Heelkop, the double right-hander. It's down towards the final corner. Jason Lamb's going to hang on. And Van Bredok is on his tailpiece. Here they go. To the line, it's going to be a drag race. Look at the corner speed from Graham Van Bredok. They're going to come across the line, and they're going to cross the line. Oh, only just with Jason Lamb at the front. That is fantastic stuff. And here for third place, looks like Bontekonen has got ahead. Yes, he has. He's got ahead of Wayne Shelley. Shelley's got through on DeVos, and that'll be your top 5 coming to the line. Now look at that. Looking at the timing one, it says Graham Van Bredok was actually given the victory ahead of Jason Lamb. That might be needed to be sorted out off track. And Bontekonen definitely got third place over Peter DeVos. Looks like Wayne Shelley was actually given a 30-second penalty for a jump start, and he drops down into 13th place overall. Han McMahon ahead of Entercott, Varinga, Clint Munton and Panaganapathy, with Hank Kruger your top 10. The declared winner, Graham Van Bredok.
Last lap going up the back straight, I knew he was going to have a go at me. But I was hoping if he couldn't carry corner speed into the last turn, then I'd be able to get up the inside on the brakes, which I didn't manage to do. But then the last turn coming into the pit corner, he held quite a defensive line, and I managed to drive around the outside. And I think if the timing stuff is correct, I've won by 0.01, I think, or something like that. So super happy to gain the points, and just thanks to my team, thanks to Stefanidi Stocks and to Motel and all the guys that back us, and big thanks to my wife for all the extra motivation for this meeting, which I was lacking slightly.
Fantastic dice for third place, particularly from the hard bugger and a couple of old buggers.
For a change, it wasn't waiting, counting the laps down from 5 laps to go. It was racing, and I really enjoyed it. It's awesome. The guys had a good, clean race, and the old bullies gave each other hell, I must be honest.
Race 2, I didn't have a great start, but I felt I was there, and then all of a sudden the bike started spinning out, and long story short, the bike went into limp mode, and I was struggling to keep it on the track. But no excuses, I'm starting to get the feeling back, and I'm hoping I'll do even better next race.
Time for prize giving now for classes A, B and C. And your rider of the day, Phakisa Temba from IM63 and Makanya Racing. The SunBet ZX10 Masters Championship looks like this, with Van Bredok at the front end ahead of Ronald Slamet, Jason Lamb in third place, Entercott in fourth ahead of DeVos, Brian Bontekonen, Han McMahon, Trevor Westman, Dave Varinga and Mike Smith your top 10. As we head into the next round down at the Aldo Scrimanti circuit in Kwabecha on the 17th of June. Come and join us there, and we'll bring you all the action. All the ZX10 Masters Cup action is proudly brought to you by SunBet, Red Square, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice for the ZX10 Masters Cup, and Kawasaki Motorcycles.